Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. India and Mauritius elevate ties to comprehensive strategic partnership. Both sides signed several MoUs in the fields of science and technology, space, hydrography, among others. In Nepal, curfew extended in Kathmandu Valley districts till September 12th as young protesters and army resume talks to decide a new interim leader. Poland warns of the risk of open conflict after alleged Russian drone intrusion. Zelensky slams the West for lack of action. Russia denies the violation. And 31-year-old US conservative political activist Charlie Kirk shot dead in Utah. Manhunt for the shooter continues. President Donald Trump calls it a dark moment for America. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted his Mauritian counterpart Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam in the holy city of Varanasi today. Both the leaders held bilateral talks, further strengthening civilizational connect, spiritual bond and deep-rooted people-to-people ties that have shaped the special and unique relationship between India and Mauritius. Leaders of India and Mauritius held delegation-level talks. Discussions focused on strengthening bilateral ties along with deepening ties in trade, investment, space and people-to-people ties. The leaders also exchanged views on regional as well as global issues. After the bilateral talks, India and Mauritius inked several agreements in Varanasi today. The pacts include Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in the field of science and technology, the agreement between CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography and Mauritius Oceanography Institute, MoU between Karma Yogi Bharat and Administrative Reforms of Mauritius, cooperation in the field of power sector, MoU on Indian grant assistance for implementation of the second phase of small development projects. Other agreements include renewal of agreement in the field of hydrography, cooperation in the field of space and cooperation in the establishment of telemetry. Addressing press statements along with Mauritian counterpart, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed that ancient ties between the two countries and of course Prime Minister Modi added that Mauritius is an important pillar of India's neighbourhood first policy and vision ocean.
आज हमने मॉरिशस की आवश्यकताओं और प्राथमिकताओं को ध्यान में रखते हुए एक स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक पैकेज पर निर्णय लिया है। यह इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मजबूत करेगा, रोजगार के नए अवसर पैदा करेगा और स्वास्थ्य सुविधाओं को सुदृढ़ करेगा। हम चागोस मरीन प्रोटेक्ट एरिया, एसएसआर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के एटीसी टावर तथा हाईवे और रिंग रोड के विस्तार जैसी परियोजनाओं को भी आगे बढ़ाएंगे। दिस पैकेज इज नॉट एन असिस्टेंस, इट इज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट इन अवर शेयर्ड फ्यूचर।
Prime Minister Modi also said that India is helping Mauritius in its energy transition.
मॉरिशस में यूपीआई और रुपे कार्ड की शुरुआत हुई। अब हम लोकल करेंसी में व्यापार को सक्षम करने की दिशा में काम करेंगे। ऊर्जा सुरक्षा हमारी भागीदारी का एक अहम स्तंभ है। भारत मॉरिशस के एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन में सहयोग दे रहा है। मॉरिशस को 100 इलेक्ट्रिक बसें दी जा रही हैं, जिसमें से 10 पहुंच चुकी हैं ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में संपन्न हुए कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव पार्टनरशिप समझौते से इसे और बल मिलेगा। हमने तमारिंड फॉल्स में 17.5 मेगावाट का फ्लोटिंग सोलर पावर प्लांट के निर्माण में सहयोग देने का निर्णय लिया है।
Upon his arrival in his constituency, Varanasi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi got a rousing welcome. People held the small tricolors in their hands to welcome the Prime Minister. Earlier, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri called on the visiting Mauritian Prime Minister Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam. The two leaders discussed multifaceted partnership and reaffirmed commitment in strengthening India-Mauritius enhanced strategic partnership anchored in shared history, culture and people-to-people ties. DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us from New Delhi now. Akshay, if you could tell us what have been the key announcements made today to elevate ties between India and Mauritius to comprehensive strategic partnership.
Well, as far as the relation between the two countries are concerned, they have been quite strong, given the fact that the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, has been to India on multiple occasions. We have seen Prime Minister Narendra Modi being bestowed with the highest civilian award there, and in an area of maritime security, to trade, to other areas such as infrastructure projects, tourism, pharmaceutical industry, healthcare, as well as education. Both the countries have quite a lot of expertise that they can share with each other, and work towards a more prosperous Indo-Pacific region as well as the Indian Ocean region. If you talk about Mauritius, it's also considered as a gateway to Africa, with Mauritius having membership of the African Union, several other multilateral forums which it is part of, that gives India quite a lot of access, not just to the markets in Mauritius but in Africa as well. And as far as the policies of the Modi government towards the neighborhood as well as the global south are concerned, Mauritius has been quite responsive to the initiatives that have been launched by the government of India in that particular sector. So, as far as the initiatives that have been taken today are concerned, Prime Minister, as he said, that while we do share, quite a lot of bonhomie as well as a comprehensive strategic partnership, we touched on every aspect of bilateral ties as far as the two countries are concerned, and that was the focus. Several memorandums of understanding have been signed, including training of the Mauritian personnel. India has announced a special economic package for Mauritius to help Mauritius build roads, to help Mauritius build more infrastructure projects there. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi called it not a financial assistance but a financial investment that will bring both the countries closer together, especially in the special economic zones and exclusive economic zones of Mauritius that are quite lucrative as far as Indian businesses are concerned, and giving a gateway to the Indian businesses into Africa as well. We clearly saw the rousing welcome that was given here in Varanasi, where I am as well,
yes,
to Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, and then the roadshow of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being given quite a lot of love by the people of Varanasi. That is also the parliamentary constituency, yes, of PM Modi.
Yes, actually, so I was going to come to that. It's interesting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the Mauritius Prime Minister Ramgoolam in Varanasi, and that the Prime Minister of Mauritius will also be visiting Ayodhya and Tirupati. What does this say for India-Mauritius cultural ties?
Both the countries share quite a lot of similarities in terms of culture. The indentured laborers that settled in Mauritius, that built a life there, and have now risen up to leadership roles. Most of them moved from Indian states like Bihar, from Uttar Pradesh, from various other states as well, who were taken by the colonial powers from India to Mauritius for sugarcane plantation, and that is the history of Mauritius, and that is displayed there in museums as well. In fact, some of the religious transcripts such as Ramayana and Mahabharata were taken along by the indentured laborers and are now a part of the Mauritian culture and Mauritian history. So on the similar lines, we will see Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam here in Varanasi, where we are reporting from, going to different places like attending the Ganga Aarti, going to Kashi Vishwanath Temple, as well as going for a cruise ship in River Ganga as well. Tanvi, I think we'll have to cut short because the press briefing is about to begin. But the relationship have been quite strong. But we are expecting this bilateral visit to further cement the ties between the two countries.
Indeed, we'll stand by for the press. Thank you very much, Akshay Dongre, for reporting on the story. From Varanasi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Dehradun to undertake an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas in Uttarakhand. Later in the evening, Prime Minister will chair a high-level review meeting with the officials. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, the states ravaged by recent floods following unprecedented rain, and announced relief packages. Prime Minister Modi announced financial assistance of 1,500 crore rupees for Himachal Pradesh and an aid of 1,600 crore rupees for Punjab. You're watching DD India News. Are still to come on the show. India condemns violation of sovereignty. Prime Minister Modi issues stern response against the Israeli attack in Doha, bats for peace and dialogue. United Nations Security Council to hold an emergency meeting on Israeli strikes inside Qatar today. And the US marks the 24th anniversary of the horrific 9/11 terror attacks. All that and more on the other side.
We lock our doors, put up fences, all to protect our house. But what about the home that we all share? Today's episode is to remind us that preservation extends beyond humans.
We tell our buyers that the coffee they're buying or they're consuming is contributing or is preserving the habitat for these many species of birds and animals.
We are promoting ecotourism only. We call volunteers to walk on the field so that they can learn from the village.
GDSI is a ranking system created by an association to make its location sustainable in terms of tourism and event management.
We use the feces as manure for our crops. That's how integrated farming becomes very profitable.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On to Europe now. Poland shot down Russian drones on Wednesday. 19 drones were intercepted in the Polish airspace early on Wednesday that are said to be flying after completing a mission in western Ukraine. It is for the first time since the beginning of the Ukraine conflict that a NATO member nation has fired shots. Poland still remains on alert with restricting air traffic in the east.
The conflict in Ukraine has now spilled across borders. For the first time since the conflict began, NATO jets were scrambled to protect member airspace. On Wednesday, Poland shot down suspected Russian drones, 19 in total, that crossed into its skies. The intrusions prompted immediate action. Polish F-16s, Dutch F-35s, and Italian AWACS plane engaged to neutralize the threat. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk confirmed that a few were shot down while warning of further escalation. Poland's foreign minister made clear that the intrusions were deliberate.
When one or two drones does it, it is possible that it was a technical malfunction. But as I told you, in this case, there were 19 breaches, and it simply defies imagination that could be accidental.
Leaders from the US, UK, Germany, France and Canada stood by Poland and Ukraine. For Kyiv and Brussels, the drone were a direct test of NATO's resolve.
Polen sagen, European air defense, NATO air defense worked, but of course not as well as it should have in order to prevent such a large number of drones from entering Polish airspace early enough and to combat the objects at an early stage. This will trigger discussions in NATO, and it will of course also trigger discussions in the European Union.
Moscow denied any role, insisting its drones targeted only Ukraine. Still, the breach has alarmed Europe. Slovenia, Denmark, Greece, France and Britain have called for an urgent UN Security Council meeting on Friday. With agency inputs, Tripti Tripaঠি's report for DD India.
On to West Asia now. Qatar hit back at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a strongly worded statement early on Thursday, describing his remarks about the Gulf countries' hosting of a Hamas office as reckless. The heated exchange came a day after Israel attempted to kill Hamas political leaders in an airstrike on Qatar on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Netanyahu warned Qatar to either expel Hamas officials or bring them to justice, because if they won't, Israel would. He also accused Qatar of providing safe haven and financing to Hamas. In a statement, Qatar's foreign ministry condemned what it described as Netanyahu's explicit threats of future violations of state sovereignty. It added that the negotiations were always held in an official and transparent manner with international support and in the presence of US and Israeli delegations. Netanyahu's insinuation that Qatar secretly harbored the Hamas delegation is a desperate attempt to justify a crime condemned by the entire world. Qatar, along with Egypt, has been mediating peace talks between Hamas and Israel. It warned that Israel's attack on Doha threatened to derail those negotiations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and expressed deep concern at the attacks in Doha and condemned the violation of sovereignty of the state of Qatar. In a social media post, Prime Minister Modi wrote, "India condemns the violation of sovereignty of the brotherly state of Qatar. We support resolution of issues through dialogue and diplomacy and avoiding escalation. India stands firmly in support of peace and stability in the region and against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations." Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has reportedly told Israeli Prime Minister that his decision to target Hamas inside Qatar wasn't wise. Sources say Trump made the comments during a heated phone call on Tuesday after the attack. According to media reports, Netanyahu responded that he had a brief window to launch the strikes and took the opportunity. It further added that a second call between the men later on Tuesday was cordial, with Trump asking Netanyahu if the attack had proven successful. Meanwhile, an emergency United Nations Security Council meeting in response to Israel's strikes on Qatar has been scheduled for today. It was supposed to take place on Wednesday, but was postponed at the request of Qatar so that the Prime Minister of Qatar can take part in the meeting. It is unclear if the Qatari Prime Minister will attend in person or virtually. On to the US now. Right-wing activist and commentator Charlie Kirk, an influential ally of President Donald Trump, was shot fatally in the neck on Wednesday at an event at Utah University. Authorities had not yet publicly identified the suspect by Wednesday evening, nearly 6 hours after the shooting. FBI Director Kash Patel said that an unnamed subject had been detained for questioning and then released. Authorities said that the suspect likely fired from a rooftop at a significant distance, adding that there were about 3,000 people gathered at the event. Kirk was one of the most prominent pro-Trump activists and conservative media personalities in the United States. He has garnered millions of fans and co-founded Turning Point USA, an organization that advocates for conservative politics on high school and university campuses in 2012. The killing was the latest in a series of attacks on US political figures, including 2 assassination attempts of Trump last year. US President Donald Trump ordered US flags to be flown at half-staff to honor Charlie Kirk in what the governor described as a political assassination. The US House of Representatives held a moment of silence on the House floor for Charlie Kirk. The silence did not last long enough as an argument broke out on the floor soon after the moment ended, with members shouting at one another. House Speaker Mike Johnson called Kirk's shooting detestable, condemning political violence.
This is detestable, what's happened. Political violence has become all too common in American society, and this is not who we are. It violates the core principles of our country, our Judeo-Christian heritage, our civil society, our American way of life, and it must stop. We need every political figure, we need everyone who has a platform to say this loudly and clearly. We can settle disagreements and disputes in a civil manner, and political violence must be called out, and it has to stop.
Condemnations of the shooting of Charlie Kirk came from across the political spectrum. Reacting to the probable assassination, President Donald Trump called it a dark moment for America and hailed Kirk as a martyr for truth.
My great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. This is a dark moment for America.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, former US President Joe Biden, former US President Barack Obama, and US Secretary of State Marco Rubio condemned the shooting. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni also expressed condolences on the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. The leaders warned of the harms of politically motivated violence after the assassination of right-wing activist Trump ally Charlie Kirk. Supporters and mourners held candlelight vigil in remembrance of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead on Wednesday while speaking at the Utah Valley University in Arizona. Officials are on the manhunt for the shooter who aimed the fatal shot from a location in the same campus. Politicians from both parties of the US sent in their condolences as soon as the news of the 31-year-old politician's death spread. Residents of Utah paid tribute to the murdered politician Charlie Kirk at a makeshift vigil outside the hospital he was brought to after being fatally shot on Wednesday. US flags and lit candles were put around the signboard of the hospital. Meanwhile, mourners also gathered at the Utah State Capitol to hold a vigil to mourn the death of the 31-year-old politician who was shot dead earlier in the day. Visitors carried posters reading, "We love you, Charlie Kirk," as they spoke and sang in tribute to the late ally of Donald Trump. "24 years ago on this day in 2001, the whole world witnessed a scene that changed history. A series of attacks were carried out in New York's World Trade Center, the Pentagon and Pennsylvania by Al-Qaeda terrorists using hijacked planes in which about 3,000 people were killed. This terrorist incident changed the security system of not only America, but the entire world forever."
These pictures bring back the horrific memories of the most heinous and unforgettable terrorist attacks in the history of terror attacks, with the images indeed etched in the memories of people worldwide. On 11th of September 2001, small teams of suicide attackers seized 4 planes flying over the eastern US and crashed them into 2 New York skyscrapers, killing around 3,000 people. At 8:46 a.m., first flights crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., the second one hit the South Tower. The attacks were carried out by 19 terrorists affiliated with terrorist group Al-Qaeda. The third plane destroyed the western face of the Pentagon, the giant headquarters of the US military, while the fourth was crashed in a field in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back. The Twin Towers were set on fire, trapping people on the upper floors and enveloping the New York City in smoke. People started jumping from the windows of the Twin Towers to save their lives, while some people started running down the stairs to save themselves. In less than 2 hours, both 110-story towers collapsed in massive clouds of dust. In the aftermath of the devastating attack, a total of 2,996 people died, including 265 passengers in 4 planes. 2,606 people died near the Twin Towers, while 125 people died in the Pentagon. People from about 90 countries died in this terrorist attack. The September 11th attacks led to a significant shift in global politics, security measures, and international relations. The world realized for the first time how deep and destructive the impact of terrorism can be. Al-Qaeda's leader Osama bin Laden was behind this attack. Less than a month after the attacks, former President George W. Bush-led US government attacked the areas of Afghanistan that had turned into the stronghold of Al-Qaeda. However, it was not until 2011 that US troops finally located and killed bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The terrorist strike led to the tightening of the flight safety around the world in the years following the 9/11 attacks. It took more than 8 months to clean up Ground Zero, the site of the fallen Twin Towers. Even today, thousands of people reach Ground Zero in New York to pay tribute to the martyrs. Bureau Report, DD India.
Brazil's Supreme Court Justice Louis Fox voted on Wednesday to acquit former President Jair Bolsonaro of all his charges for an alleged coup attempt, thus giving an opportunity to raise appeals later this week regarding the final verdict. He further mentioned that there is not enough evidence to convict him in any of the charges. The former president stands accused of taking part in an armed criminal organization, attempting to violently abolish democracy, organizing a coup, and damaging government property and protected cultural assets. This may also support his defense that the case must be tried by High Court's full bench of 11 justices, including the 2 appointed by the former president. The latest vote has added to the existing chaos caused by this case that has drawn Bolsonaro's supporters to streets in protest. You're with us on DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. In a first Indian Armed Forces all-women sailing team to circumnavigate the globe, Defence Minister virtually flags off the expedition. ISRO signs agreement for commercialization of small satellite launch vehicle technology. And 3 Italian nationals are on a spiritual journey in the central Indian state of Maharashtra. Details on the other side.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching the India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A reminder of the headlines we're tracking at this hour. India and Mauritius elevate ties to comprehensive strategic partnership. Both sides signed several MoUs in the fields of science and technology, space, hydrography, among others. In Nepal, curfew extended in Kathmandu Valley district till September 12th as young protesters and army resume talks to decide a new interim leader. Poland warns of the risk of open conflict after alleged Russian drone intrusion. Zelensky slams the West for lack of action. Russia denies the violation. And 31-year-old US conservative political activist Charlie Kirk shot dead in Utah. Manhunt for the shooter continues. President Donald Trump calls it a dark moment for America. Let's go back to our top story. India and Mauritius have agreed to elevate their ties to the level of comprehensive strategic partnership. Addressing a joint presser with the Mauritius PM, Prime Minister Modi said that India will support Mauritius in strengthening its health infrastructure and will support in establishing a 500-bed specialty hospital.
भारत के बाहर पहला जन औषधि केंद्र अब मॉरिशस में स्थापित हो चुका है। आज हमने निर्णय लिया है कि मॉरिशस में आयुष ऑफ एक्सीलेंस 500 बेड का सर शिव सागर रामगुलाम नेशनल हॉस्पिटल और वेटरनरी स्कूल एंड एनिमल हॉस्पिटल के निर्माण में भारत सहयोग देगा।
India and Mauritius agreed to strengthen ties in areas like research, education and innovation. Prime Minister Modi said that a new Directorate of Science and Technology will be established in Mauritius, and soon the two sides will also start training modules of Mission Karma Yogi in Mauritius.
ह्यूमन रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट में हम लंबे समय से सहयोग करते आए हैं। अब तक 5000 से ज्यादा मॉरिशस के नागरिकों ने भारत में प्रशिक्षण प्राप्त किया है। मेरी मार्च यात्रा के दौरान 500 सिविल सेवकों को ट्रेनिंग देने का निर्णय लिया गया था। मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि इसका पहला बैच इस समय मसूरी में ट्रेनिंग कर रहा है।
Mauritius Prime Minister Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam lauded India's long-standing support and partnership with Mauritius, stating that the country benefited immensely from India's generous assistance and expertise in various sectors over the last few years.
Beyond bilateral issues, Prime Minister Modi and I have held deep exchanges on pressing global challenges. As I said, also maritime security, but also climate change, and we will continue to work together. These discussions have culminated in the signing, you've just said, of several memoranda of understanding in the fields of community development, power, energy, science and technology, research, education, marine science and space research, which will guide and strengthen our cooperations in the years ahead. Another highlight has been the high-level business meeting held 2 days ago in Mumbai, which brought together the captains of industry, and it was very fruitful because there's eagerness, because I've told them that don't forget we have preferential access to a lot of markets in Africa. We are a member of SADC, we are a member of COMESA, and we are a member of the African Union. But especially with SADC, there's a lot of double taxation agreement treaties which India business people can also benefit. It will be a win-win situation.
Prime Minister Ramgoolam also thanked Prime Minister Modi for the warm welcome received in his constituency, Varanasi.
What has happened when I landed at Varanasi? We were amazed, both myself and my wife. The welcome that we have received, I believe no other Prime Minister has ever received. And I'm glad it's in your constituency. I can understand why you get elected with such huge numbers. Thank you.
And we are joined by Ruchita Berry now on the show. Ms. Berry is a senior fellow at the Vivekananda International Foundation, New Delhi. Welcome, ma'am, to the show. First of all, could you tell us a bit more about the traditional ties, especially the people-to-people and economic ties between India and Mauritius?
Yeah, India and Mauritius have long-standing ties which are connected with the people, because more than 60% or almost 70% of people of Mauritius are of Indian origin. So we share the same civilizational connect, and therefore there have been close ties at the people-to-people level. There has been a vibrant interaction at the political level between the two countries for a very long time, and this is very clear when the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Ram Ghulam met at Varanasi today, sharing the fact that they have spiritual as well as political and people-to-people connect. That was quite visible in the warmth, in the way the people of India received the Mauritian Prime Minister. And so India and Mauritius are countries which share the Indian Ocean region, and therefore for India, Mauritius is a key country in Indian Ocean region, in the entire Indo-Pacific region, as a partner. And this is something which has been solidified by Prime Minister Ram Ghulam's visit to India this time.
Okay, so while announcing the economic package for Mauritius, Prime Minister Modi said that this is not an assistance but a shared investment for a shared future. How significant is that statement?
Yeah, I think this is very important, because India is saying that this is a mutual partnership. It is not something that India is imposing on the Mauritians. We look at Mauritius as an equal partner. So this is something which is very interesting, because most of the time the major powers have looked down upon countries in Africa like Mauritius as a junior partner, while Prime Minister Modi said that you are the same level as India, you are an equal partner. So this is something which is very important, and India is saying that it is not a donor-client kind of a relationship that we have with Mauritius. It is an equal partnership. It is a shared future for both our countries' economic development. So we are investing in Mauritius so that both our countries' economic future could be bright.
Yes. India and Mauritius, Ms. Berry, have exchanged MOUs today in various fields. These include in the fields of power and hydropower. Could you tell us some more about these MOUs signed today?
Yeah, so there have been several MOUs signed, one on health, where Prime Minister has announced that he's going to set up, that India is going to help Mauritius in setting up a hospital, which he calls an Ayushman Center for health and excellence, which is basically a bigger specialized hospital, which is definitely in need in Mauritius. Health is a global issue, and with COVID we saw that most of the countries are looking for enhancing their health infrastructure. India did help Mauritius at that time through vaccine Maitri, and now it's continuing its support to Mauritius through enhancing their health infrastructure in terms of setting up hospitals. That is one. And then in terms of higher education, I think a cooperation MOU has been signed that the IIT Madras will set up its campus in Mauritius. Also in terms of maritime issues, there is an agreement through which we will enhance our cooperation in hydrography with Mauritius. Likewise, on space and other issues also, there have been MOUs inked between the two countries.
Yeah, so India and Mauritius have also decided to take steps to conduct trade in local currency. What is the significance of this step, ma'am?
Yeah, so we are living in a world where increasingly it's becoming difficult for us to trade in dollars, and we are because of the huge debt that leads the countries to. So India has been increasingly trading in local currencies with most of its partner countries, and with Mauritius also. This is what we are going forward with. This will help in our economic well-being of both our countries in future.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam in Varanasi, and that the Prime Minister of Mauritius will also be visiting Ayodhya and Tirupati. What does this say for India-Mauritius cultural ties?
Yeah, that reflects that both countries share the same kind of culture, and they are very much interested. Mauritius and the Mauritius leadership is very much interested in visiting the major cultural sites in India, whether it is Varanasi, which is Kashi, where, and the fact that Prime Minister welcomed him in Varanasi is extremely important, because they got a sense of the popularity that Prime Minister has within the city, and also that it's a major pilgrimage site, whether it is Kashi or it's Tirupati or Ayodhya.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Ms. Berry, for explaining to us the depth of India-Mauritius ties. We are yet to see more of the Mauritian Prime Minister's visit to Tirupati and Ayodhya later. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move on now. In a historic first, 10 women officers from the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force embarked on a tri-service circumnavigation mission on board the Indian Army sailing vessel, or IASV Triveni. From today, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh virtually flagged off the expedition, which will cover 26,000 plus nautical miles. The team of women officers will be crossing the equator twice and rounding the 3 Great Capes, braving the world's toughest oceans, including the Southern Ocean and the Drake Passage. This all-women expedition is not just about sailing. It is a milestone in India's maritime journey, showcasing women power, Nari Shakti in uniform, the tri-service unity and the spirit of adventure as a whole. IASV Triveni, a 50-foot yacht built indigenously in Puducherry, is an embodiment of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Equipped with modern navigation and communication systems, it has already logged 10,000 nautical miles in training and is now set to take on the global challenge. Union Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah inaugurated the fast-track immigration trusted traveller program at Lucknow, Trivandrum, Trichy, Kozhikode and Amritsar airports through video conferencing today. The initiative, first started at Delhi's IGI airport in July 2024, allows pre-verified Indian nationals and OCI cardholders to bypass regular immigration queues using e-gates for faster, hassle-free clearance. Applicants can now register online and submit biometrics and enjoy seamless immigration for up to 5 years or until their passport expires. Addressing the inauguration, Home Minister Amit Shah mentioned that this is in line with the government's efforts to streamline the immigration process for Indian nationals and OCI, overseas citizens of India, card holders.
फास्ट ट्रैक इमिग्रेशन ट्रस्टेड ट्रैवलर प्रोग्राम के उद्घाटन कार्यक्रम में हम सब वर्चुअल माध्यम से जुड़े हैं। आज मोदी जी का जो स्वप्न है, स्पीड, स्केल और स्कोप, ये तीनों को इस प्रोग्राम के अंदर समाहित कर प्रवासियों की सुविधाओं को बढ़ाने का हमने जो प्रयास किया है, इसका एक अगला चरण आज से शुरू हो रहा है।
India has taken up the matter of recruitment of Indians in the Russian army with the concerned authorities. In response to media queries, official spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, Randhir Jaiswal, said, and I quote, "We have seen reports about Indian nationals having been recruited recently into the Russian army. The government has on several occasions over the past 1 year underlined the risks and dangers inherent in this course of action and cautioned Indian citizens accordingly. We've also taken up the matter with Russian authorities, both in Delhi and Moscow, asking that this practice be ended and that our nationals be released. We're also in touch with the families of the affected Indian citizens. We once again strongly urge all Indian nationals to stay away from any offer to join the Russian army, as this is a course fraught with danger. Unquote. Based on the security situation, the Nepalese army informed that the prohibitory order and curfew has been extended in Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur districts until 6 a.m. on Bhadra 27, 2082, that is Friday, September 12th. However, essential service vehicles and institutions can operate. To make people's lives easier, Nepali army have urged people to work in small groups. Although curfew will be off from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Thursday to manage daily necessities. Negotiations will take place between Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel, Nepali Army Chief Ashok Raj Sigdel and representatives of the Gen Z youth movement on Thursday.
Briefing by Foreign Secretary of India.
And let's now go to the MEA briefing on India-Mauritius ties.
Of Mauritius to India. आप सभी का इस प्रेस वार्ता में स्वागत है। हमारे साथ भारत के विदेश सचिव श्री विक्रम मिश्री हैं, जो आप सबको इस राजकीय यात्रा, माननीय मॉरिशस के प्रधानमंत्री की राजकीय यात्रा के बारे में जानकारी देंगे। We have with us also the dais, Additional Secretary, IOR region in the Ministry of External Affairs, Shri Puneet Agarwal, as also our High Commissioner to Mauritius, Shri Anurag Srivastav. With that, I invite Foreign Secretary to give his opening remarks to the media on the ongoing state.
नमस्कार। मॉरिशस के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम की जो राजकीय यात्रा भारत में चल रही है, उसके बारे में आपसे कुछ विवरण साझा करना चाहूँगा। और यात्रा की जो रूपरेखा है, जो प्रमुख कार्यक्रम हैं और प्रमुख निष्कर्ष इससे निकले हैं, उनका संक्षेप में वर्णन करूंगा और अगर आपके कुछ प्रश्न हो उनका उत्तर देने का प्रयास करूंगा। मॉरिशस के प्रधानमंत्री जी की जो ये यात्रा है वो 9 सितंबर को शुरू हुई है। वो 8 दिन की राजकीय यात्रा पे भारत में हैं। उनके साथ उनकी पत्नी श्रीमती वीना रामगुलाम, उनके कैबिनेट के 6 मंत्री और मॉरिशस सरकार के वरिष्ठ अधिकारी और साथ साथ एक व्यावसायिक प्रतिनिधि मंडल भी उनके साथ है। 9 सितंबर को ये प्रतिनिधि मंडल प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ मुंबई पहुंचा। 10 सितंबर को यानी कल मुंबई शहर में वे उद्योग जगत के कुछ प्रमुख नेताओं से मिले। एक व्यावसायिक कार्यक्रम की उन्होंने अध्यक्षता भी की। आज वाराणसी में प्रधानमंत्री जी की बैठक हुई प्रधानमंत्री जी श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के साथ। आज की जो बैठक हुई उसके अलावा ये जो 8 दिन की यात्रा है, इसके दौरान डॉक्टर रामगुलाम अयोध्या में राम मंदिर जाएंगे, तिरुपति भी यात्रा करेंगे और इसके पश्चात नई दिल्ली आएंगे, जहां पे यात्रा समाप्त होगी। नई दिल्ली में वे महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी से मुलाकात करेंगे और राजघाट जाकर महात्मा गांधी को श्रद्धांजलि देंगे। 16 सितंबर को ये यात्रा समाप्त होगी। जैसा आपको मालूम है, ये प्रतिनिधि मंडल प्रधानमंत्री रामगुलाम के साथ कल शाम को वाराणसी पहुंचा। आज सवेरे दोनों प्रधानमंत्रियों के बीच बैठक हुई। उसमें एक निजी बैठक जहां सिर्फ दोनों प्रधानमंत्री मौजूद थे, वो बैठक हुई और उसके बाद दोनों प्रधानमंत्री अपने अपने शिष्टमंडलों के साथ बैठ के उन्होंने व्यापक चर्चा की सभी द्विपक्षीय मुद्दों पे। प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर राम गुलाम के सम्मान में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने भी उनके सम्मान में एक भोज दिया। आज शाम को प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर राम गुलाम जो काशी नगरी की एक प्रतिष्ठित गंगा आरती है, जो यहाँ इस नगरी की सभ्यता का एक प्रतीक है, उसके साक्षी बनेंगे। आज रात को उत्तर प्रदेश की महामहिम राज्यपाल प्रधानमंत्री राम गुलाम और उनके प्रतिनिधिमंडल के सम्मान में रात्रि भोज देंगी और आज दिन में ही प्रधानमंत्री राम गुलाम काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर में भी प्रार्थना करेंगे। आप सबको हो सकता है जानकारी हो कि प्रधानमंत्री का पदभार संभालने के बाद, जो पिछले नवंबर 2024 में हुआ, उसके बाद ये प्रधानमंत्री राम गुलाम की पहली द्विपक्षीय यात्रा है किसी भी देश में और उनके वर्तमान कार्यकाल में ये उनकी भारत की पहली यात्रा है। इससे पहले वो करीब एक दशक से थोड़ा पहले 2014 में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की पहली टर्म के पदभार ग्रहण के समारोह में शामिल होने के लिए यहाँ पे आए थे। आज की जो यात्रा है, ये प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जब मार्च के महीने में, इसी साल मार्च के महीने में मॉरिशस गए थे, वहाँ उनके राष्ट्रीय दिवस समारोह में मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में, तो ये उसके बाद एक तरह से ये रिटर्न विजिट आज की यात्रा उस तरह से भी देखी जा सकती है। नवंबर 2024 में चुनाव जीतने के बाद प्रधानमंत्री राम गुलाम और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी दोनों के बीच नियमित रूप से संवाद बना हुआ है। Let me also say a few words about the overall relationship between India and Mauritius and its place in India's overall policy framework. Mauritius is an integral part of India's neighborhood first policy and our vision Mahasagar, which is mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. It is also a very important part, Mauritius, of our commitment to the global South. This is a unique relationship. It is rooted in cultural, civilizational, linguistic, and ethnic bonds. It's underpinned by very, very close people-to-people relations, growing trade, economic, financial, and investment ties, and a very, very substantive developmental partnership between the two countries. India has traditionally been a first responder and a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region, and Mauritius is no exception to that. So whether it be the COVID-19 pandemic, the Wakashio oil spill, or Cyclone Chido in December last year, India has always been first on the scene with relief efforts. Today, this is a partnership that has evolved in diverse areas, including development cooperation, capacity building, maritime security, science and technology initiatives, educational exchanges, healthcare development. And evidence of this is to be seen in the number of memoranda of understanding and agreements that were signed earlier today and exchanged between the two sides earlier today. During Prime Minister Modi's visit to Mauritius earlier this year, the relationship was elevated to the level of an enhanced strategic partnership, which is the first such partnership in our neighborhood. Over the past 10 years or so, we have contributed to the development of Mauritius through a mix of small and large development projects and an extensive suite of capacity building and training initiatives. We take great pride in being a valued and trusted partner of Mauritius. As two neighbors in a very important maritime neighborhood, the two countries are also working together to address challenges related to maritime security, piracy, drug trafficking, IUU fishing, and a host of other issues. And the current visit essentially aims to build on this very strong and extensive foundation of relations and charting out new frontiers for our engagement. I want to speak about some of the main outcomes of this visit, and one of the major outcomes of the visit is our decision to offer a special economic package to Mauritius. This is a package that covers multiple elements. It includes the development of the port of Port Louis, development and assistance for surveillance of the Chagos Marine Protected Area, blended financial assistance in the form of grants and lines of credit for major projects, some of which were referred to by the Prime Minister also in his remarks before the press earlier today. These include the Sir Shivsagar Ramgulam National Hospital, setting up of an Ayush Center of Excellence, establishing a veterinary school and animal hospital, constructing the air control tower at the SSR International Airport in Port Louis, road and motorway construction, and providing specialized equipment for the port in Port Louis. Besides this, we will also assist Mauritius in augmenting its maritime security and defense preparedness. The package will also contribute to safeguarding the waters around Mauritius and in the broader region, and Government of India will also extend budgetary assistance in the current financial year amounting to $25 million. Let me also share some of the major announcements and other initiatives that have been taken during the ongoing visit. Some of them build on the announcements that were made during the visit of Prime Minister Modi to Mauritius in March 2025. For instance, we have signed an MoU to operationalize our commitment for phase 2 of the high impact community development projects to further enhance the development partnership under a grant of around 96 crore rupees. India had also assured to share capacity building expertise under Mission Karmyogi. Our two sides have agreed to offer the platform and develop civil service capacity building for Mauritius using the Karmyogi platform as a reference. The Department of Science and Technology has signed an agreement with its counterpart in Mauritius to assist the country in preparing a national science and technology strategy and setting up a science and technology directorate in Mauritius. There is also an MoU between the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, National Institute of Oceanography of India, and the Mauritius Oceanography Institute to foster cooperation and capacity building in the field of oceanography. Another important MoU refers to the energy sector, the power sector cooperation. It will assist Mauritius in securing its energy needs and obviate some of the difficulties it is currently facing in power generation and transmission. For instance, we have decided to jointly develop a 17.5 megawatt floating solar power plant in Mauritius. The space sector is an important area of cooperation between the two countries, and we have put in place a new MoU on telemetry, tracking and command of satellites and launch vehicles. This will also help in satellite navigation, remote sensing and capacity building of Mauritius. We've also expanded our cooperation between various institutes, for instance between IIT Madras and the University of Mauritius, and between the Indian Institute of Plantation Management in Bengaluru and the University of Mauritius. Overall, I would say that the engagements and the outcomes during this visit will enable the India-Mauritius relationship to scale new heights in the coming years and ensure that these ties remain an anchor of stability in the Indian Ocean, and will also help address the challenges that we are seeing emerging in this region. You would all have seen during the press event earlier today, Prime Minister Ramgoolam expressing his appreciation and gratitude for the very warm welcome that he and his delegation have received, and how much he looks forward to the remaining elements of the visit. So let me stop here. If there are any questions, I would be happy to try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. अब हम प्रश्न के लिए तैयार हैं. आप अपने प्रश्न पूछने से पहले अपने नाम और अपने संस्था का नाम जरूर बताएं. Can we go here? Ayushi?
Sir, good afternoon. This is Ayushi Agrawal from ANI. Sir, our Prime Minister in his opening remarks also mentioned about trade in local currencies between the two countries. Is there any timeline for that? And also if you can talk about the importance of holding the bilateral meeting in Varanasi this time. Thank you.
संजय जी कोई सवाल आपके पास? Upmita?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Upmita from Amar Ujala. You were talking about the maritime operations being shared between the two countries. So do you think a challenge associated with the neighboring countries' situation all over the our neighboring countries?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get the first part.
We share a lot of maritime projects with the Mauritius. So do you see any kind of challenges associated with the things like we have tense situation in our neighboring countries. So do you see any kind of change and requirement associated with the maritime situation?
Sanjay ji, please.
I'm Sudhir from Hindustan Times. Just want to know about the Prime Minister laid emphasis on taking bilateral relations to new heights. Would you please decode it? What does it mean in fact?
Sorry, decode?
Means would you like to just you explain? Because already the ties are in good terms.
Okay.
So what does it mean to take to new level, to new heights? And second question is, do let us know, this is request, why Kashi was chosen for this?
Why?
Kashi was chosen for this bilateral meeting, because usually you people hold meetings, such meetings are held in Delhi. And anything, though I know this is country to country conversation, but of course being a resident of Kashi, I would like to know whether Kashi gets anything specific from this meeting. Anyway, because Banarsi saris are exported, so many things are exported from here to Mauritius, and what we can get from Mauritius and how this the things, artifacts may help further.
Sanjay ji.
भारत और मॉरिशस के बीच बहुत सारे भावनात्मक संबंध है, बहुत पुराना संबंध है और सांस्कृतिक रूप से भी। और चूँकि मॉरिशस में हमारे गिरमिटिया मजदूर गए, वहाँ की राजनीति, वहाँ के समाज, वहाँ की संस्कृति, वहाँ की आर्थिक धारा को उन्होंने गहरे प्रभावित किया। और मतलब लंबे समय से हम मॉरिशस को एक तरह से मानते हैं कि हमारा उनका भावनात्मक और सांस्कृतिक संबंध बहुत गहरा है। आपने कहा कि अभी आज का जो समझौता हुआ है, आज की जो बातचीत हुई है, उसने एक नया आयाम दिया है, एक बहुत बड़ा हाइट दिया है। थोड़ा इसे ज़्यादा और ठीक से एक्सप्लेन करने की ज़रूरत है।
ठीक,
ये विजिट कल की है सर, आशीष।
So I think on the Ayushi's question on trade in local currencies, this is something on which an understanding has already been arrived at, but now at this stage there are discussions going on between the central banks of the two countries, because the appropriate accounts, the Nostro and Vostro accounts have to be opened up in the banks. So the central banks on the two sides are discussing the technical aspects, and we expect that the understanding on trade in local currencies will be made operational very soon as the operational issues are dealt with. You, I think, also had a question on, as I think did several others, on the visit to Kashi. Look, I would say that, I would start by saying that the Prime Minister has long emphasized on the need to take foreign policy out of Delhi and the need to take diplomacy out of Delhi, because we are talking about the foreign policy not of Delhi, not of one particular city, but the foreign policy of the country. And our foreign policy and our diplomacy stem from and belong to the entire country. And it's only right that international events, including events such as summit meetings, are held in other cities other than Delhi. We have had presence of international leaders in other cities in India, in other centers in India, and perhaps we may not have had standalone bilateral visits in many different parts of the country, but it is something that has been very close to the Prime Minister's heart. He has underlined this issue for some time, and I think this is a manifestation of that for him to want to see a visit such as this take place in a different part of the country. And I think partly this question that you have asked, Sanjay ji, आपका जो प्रश्न था, एक तरह से आपने इस प्रश्न का उत्तर भी अपने प्रश्न में ही दे दिया, कि जो एक तरह से सांस्कृतिक नाता जो गिरमिटिया लोगों का इन देशों से है, मॉरिशस एक देश है लेकिन कई और देश हैं दुनिया भर में जहाँ पे भारत से गिरमिटिया गए थे और अब उन्होंने उन देशों को अपना घर बना लिया है, लेकिन जो रिश्ता है, जो नाता है, वो अभी भी बना हुआ है और अलग अलग प्रणालियों के द्वारा हम उस रिश्ते को एक तरह से बनाए रखे हैं। प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस होता है तो उसमें उन रिश्तों के बारे में बातचीत होती है और कई और ऐलान किए गए हैं जिनसे ये आगे बढ़ेगा। और आपको मुझसे अधिक जानकारी होगी कि भारत देश का ये इलाका जो है जहाँ पे हम अभी हैं, इस इलाके का जो एक तरह से इसकी कंट्रीब्यूशन थी, जो यहाँ से लोग गए थे, वो कितना गहरा है, वो नाता कितना गहरा है और खासकर मॉरिशस से कितना गहरा नाता है। प्रधानमंत्री रामगुलाम का उससे पर्सनल जो एक नाता है, एक रिलेशनशिप है, वो भी अपनी कहानी खुद ही सुनाता है। सो आई थिंक देयर इज a certain logic to why this visit now at this place, but in the broader context, as I said also, it is an issue of wanting to in a sense socialize foreign policy beyond the narrow confines of Delhi. On this other question related to the maritime projects and in the context of challenges, look, we are seeing increasing challenges in the Indian Ocean, and especially in the southwestern Indian Ocean region where Mauritius is located. Problems such as terrorism, trafficking, whether it is contraband, human trafficking, gun running, etc. I referred to illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing as well, which is a huge challenge and a huge cost that many countries have to pay that are enormously dependent on maritime resources. So the maritime security cooperation between India and Mauritius is aimed at addressing lots of these challenges. How we will contribute to Mauritius's capacity building, to topping up or help build up the capacities that they need in terms of equipment, in terms of platforms, in terms of human resources, both the provision of human resources as well as the training of human resources. All of these will get discussed in that. I referred to in the outcomes related to the visit in the special economic package that there will be the assistance and development in the surveillance of the Chagos marine protected area. As you would have heard Prime Minister Ramgoolam say himself during the press conference on as a result of the Chagos Treaty between Mauritius and UK, Mauritius now has a much larger exclusive economic zone in which to protect and secure its interests. And India is, I would imagine, a preferred partner in this pursuit, and we look forward to assisting Mauritius in facing up to all these challenges that I mentioned that will be there in that area. A question was posed about what is special about the visit and how, what are the new heights that it goes to. Well, maybe I think the answer is really in the substantive content of the visit, and it may not have been detailed in the statements, but I think you will find this on the website of the Ministry of External Affairs, all the joint announcements. But if I can quickly run through it, and you will see the substance, that is why this is going to be an enhanced partnership. For instance, the special economic package. It has 4 separate elements. The first element relates to projects and assistance that will be undertaken on grant basis. So almost $215 million worth of projects will be undertaken on the basis of grants. This relates to the Sir Shivsagar Ramgoolam National Hospital, the Ayush Center of Excellence, the Veterinary School and Animal Hospital, and the provision of helicopters to again help Mauritius with various law enforcement and surveillance duties. The second element is projects and assistance that will be undertaken on grant cum line of credit basis, and this is to an extent of $440 million. Under this, we are looking at projects related to the air traffic control tower at the international airport in Port Louis, the development of motorways and roads, and the acquisition of port equipment by the operator at Mauritius, the Premier Mauritius Port. The third element is the redevelopment and restructuring of the port of Port Louis. Now, this is going to be a very large project. Obviously, the elements of the project will have to be studied in detail, but this is a strategic project considering the location and the situation of Mauritius. And the second part of this third element is the assistance in development and surveillance of the Chagos marine protected area. This is very significant because, as I said in my answer to the earlier question, following the Mauritius-UK Chagos Treaty, Mauritius's EEZ has expanded manifold. It has many more responsibilities now. It needs maritime resources, And in order to be able to fully develop and exploit those resources, it will need assistance. And as I said, India is a partner, a preferred partner in providing that assistance. And fourthly and finally, as part of the special economic package, is the budgetary assistance that India has announced as a special measure in the current financial year for Mauritius. In addition to those, there are a number of other announcements, the agreements and MoUs that have been signed, which the details have already been made available. But content-wise, this is the results of this relationship. The content in this certainly does bear out the point that I was making about this being an elevated and enhanced relationship. Keep in mind also the fact that this is the first visit of Prime Minister Ramgoolam after taking over his current responsibilities in November 2024, and therefore we need to also demonstrate what it is that we are able and willing to do in continuing our traditional friendship with Mauritius. Yeah, I think you had a question on what does Kashi get out of this. I mean, I take the point about Banarsi saris getting exported in any case, and but I would imagine that you know, you get on many more television screens and many more eyeballs get directed towards Kashi, and that is all to the good for tourism business in this part of the country.
If we do not have, oh, okay, please. Akshay, you also have a question? जी, मैं नाम अपना जरूर बताएं और
मैं रजनीश त्रिपाठी हिंदुस्तान से मेरा प्रश्न मॉरिशस के उच्चायुक्त से जुड़ा हुआ होगा। मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि डॉक्टर राम गुलाम एक सप्ताह से ज़्यादा की यात्रा पर है भारत के, काशी तक आए, उनका जो पैतृक स्थान है यहाँ से लगभग 150 किलोमीटर के आसपास भोजपुर में, क्या आपसे चर्चा के दौरान कभी उनकी जिज्ञासा हुई कि वो अपने पितृ स्थान तक जाएं? पितृपक्ष भी चल रहा है, और क्या उनके मन में ऐसी इच्छा हुई? एक भावनात्मक प्रश्न है विदेश मंत्रालय से इतर।
मेरे विचार में इस प्रश्न का उत्तर शायद मॉरिशस शिष्टमंडल के जो प्रतिनिधि हैं वो बेहतर दे सकते हैं मुझसे। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, जब इस तरह की यात्रा के बारे में एक योजना बनाई जाती है तो ये जो हमारे अतिथि होते हैं ये उन पे छोड़ा जाता है कि वो क्या क्या करना चाहते हैं, कहाँ कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं। उनके और हमारे बीच में जो बातचीत हुई हो वो दूसरी चीज़ है, लेकिन ये जो कार्यक्रम बना है ये उनके कहने पे और उनके सुझाव से बना है। आपकी बात सही है कि जो मैं पहले भी कह रहा था कि प्रधानमंत्री राम गुलाम का इस इलाके से एक बहुत ही स्पेशल एक संबंध है, और आज भोजन के समय पे जो बातचीत हो रही थी उसमें ये भी सुनने में आया कि कुछ साल पहले जब उनकी मेरे विचार में शायद उनकी माताजी का देहांत हुआ था, माताजी का या पिताजी का, पिताजी का देहांत हुआ था, तो वो यहाँ पे आए थे, अस्थि विसर्जन के लिए आए थे, और उनको याद है उस यात्रा के बारे में। लेकिन उन्होंने और क्या कुछ करना चाहा हो इसके बारे में मेरे विचार में शायद मॉरिशस का उच्चायुक्त आपको और जानकारी दे पाएंगे।
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you very much. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार।
So that was the press briefing of the Ministry of External Affairs detailing about the bilateral talks held between India and Mauritius earlier in the day. Both sides have elevated their partnership to comprehensive strategic partnership. Let's move on now. India's Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav arrived in Jaipur on a one-day visit to review the redevelopment work of railway stations in Rajasthan. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav reached Jaipur's Khatipura railway station by train from Delhi, where a large number of citizens gathered to welcome him. During his visit, the minister reviewed the redevelopment work of railway stations in Rajasthan. He mentioned efforts are being made to introduce new trains for the state, including Vande Bharat services from Delhi to Jodhpur, Bikaner and Jaisalmer, and plans are underway to start an overnight train from Jaisalmer.
खातीपुरा बहुत बड़ी मेंटेनेंस फैसिलिटी डेवलप हो रही है। आप अगर इस पूरे प्लान को देखेंगे, ओवरऑल एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव तरीके से जयपुर में बड़ी मेंटेनेंस फैसिलिटी डेवलप हो रही है। डेली यहाँ पर 12 से 18 गाड़ियाँ मेंटेन हो सके ऐसी व्यवस्था की जा रही है। इसमें वंदे भारत भी मेंटेन होगी और कई दूसरी तरह की गाड़ियाँ मेंटेन होंगी।
A technology transfer agreement was signed between New Space India Limited and the ISRO, Indian Space Research Organisation, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre, and Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for the transfer of the small satellite launch vehicle technology. Developed by ISRO, the SSLV is designed as a quick turnaround, on-demand launch vehicle that can be efficiently scaled for industrial production. It is aimed at capturing the growing global market for small satellite launches. The vehicle can be launched from Sriharikota for inclined orbits and from the upcoming launch site at Kulasekarapattinam for polar orbits. 26 years after the Kargil war that India fought against Pakistan in the Himalayas, a book highlighting the role of artillery in India's decisive victory was released. DD India's Vishal Barrister spoke to General Lakhvinder about the book and the role of artillery in India's decisive victory in the Kargil war.
He is also called the Raging Bull of Dras. Yes, we are talking about the Kargil hero, and he has written a book, The Untold Kargil Story, and it talks about the artillery's thunder. I have with me Major General Lakhvinder Singh. Let's talk to him and find out. So why this, the untold story?
There's a lot of books have written about Kargil, but certain aspects not covered in them. So I decided to be as open, as candid as possible to bring home some home truth, which I felt were right. That's the untold story.
What was that one incident that played a pivotal role while you were writing this book?
Actually, my wife nagged me and nagged me. That's very important, because I was very hesitant to write a book, but I had a lot of things in my mind which I needed to put across. So I think I did a good thing. I took a pen and started writing it, and I hope it's an interesting book.
How does it feel 26 years after that Kargil war?
Actually, not right. I think the combined infantry and artillery both, meshed together to form such a heavy force against the Pakistanis. There's no answer to it. So I think both of the infantry and artillery did a tremendous job. Artillery, of course, was very destructive, and every time you find on the hills, the Pakistan were heard shouting, "Hame bachao, yahan par कहर बरस रहा है. Save us! Hell is falling on us." So I think they were quite scared of us, and they never wanted to be there in their position after that.
Sir, you spoke about Pakistanis shouting "Hame bachao." Where was this? If we look onto the map of Kargil,
the first time it came on Toroling. We were doing dark firing, experiment. And we heard from Barbad bunker, people say, "Hame bachao, yahan par कहर बरस रहा है." And after every hill we went to, we heard the same intercept, same shouts.
So there you heard General Lakhvinder saying, a lot has changed, but what has not changed is the will of the soldier, like General Lakhvinder Singh, that has always made India proud. with cameraman Vinod Oja in Delhi. This is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
And launching its latest Spring Collection 2026 a day ahead of the New York Fashion Week, 85-year-old American fashion icon Ralph Lauren was ready to woo its customers with the new collection in hues of black and white, depicting strength and sensuality. The collection also displayed its classics, the cargo-like tops and overalls. New York Fashion Week runs from September 11th till 16th with 60 brands showcasing their debuting collections. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app for news and updates from India and around the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.